Back to Fox 5's On the Hill live this Sunday morning. President Biden's administration has hit the ground running with more than 24 executive orders and promises for more stimulus relief dealing with an impeachment trial that is on the way. We want to welcome in Democratic Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger from Virginia. Her take on this new administration. Congresswoman, how are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing just fine. How are you?
A little warmed up from where we were Wednesday for the inaugural. So I want to start there. Joe Biden, took that podium, took that oath, and had a call to arms basically for the spirit of the American people, for unity. Is that pie in the sky, or is this breach repairable, with that speech as the starting point?
I thought the speech was beautiful. I thought it was focused. I thought it recognized bit by bit and, element of element, the challenges that we face as a nation. And it called on all of us, elected officials, neighbors, family members, Americans, to recognize that these are challenges we face together, and these are challenges we will only overcome together. His speech spoke to me, and I believe it is possible, but it requires a real willingness to join together and fight the challenges that we are facing, the challenges of far-right extremism, the challenges of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. The list goes on. And I think it's a good starting point, and it's a call for all of us to join together.
Well, let's talk about that, because at one point the president referred to the Uncivil War to describe the political discourse in this country. He was talking about the country as a whole. But, where you work in the United States Congress, it could be described as an uncivil war. We always wait to see what people do rather than, what they say. So what is the feeling, when you go back now and you deal with Republicans on the other side? Are the feelings so fractured right now? Can people actually get together and work on these issues, like stimulus, like the other challenges that are facing this country, infrastructure, which we've talked about so much over the past few years?
Well, feelings are fractured. It is a tense time. We had insurrectionists storm the Capitol just 2 weeks prior to the inauguration of President Biden. But back here in Central Virginia, in the district that I represent, like so many places across the country, the frayed feelings that we have on Capitol Hill are similar to what's happening in our communities, in families across the country. And so if we are going to achieve long-lasting legislative goals focused on rebuilding our nation's infrastructure, contending with issues of racial equity and justice, finally moving in the right direction with stabilizing our healthcare system and lowering the cost of prescription drugs, not to mention contending with this global pandemic that continues to kill thousands of Americans and leave thousands of Americans unemployed each day, we have to focus on that being the job. And members of Congress, our job is to govern. And so we can have feelings, we can have tense conversations that are certainly stronger and more intense than they have been at times in the past. But our job is to govern, and we must do that on behalf of the people that we represent.
Let me ask you about that, because all of those issues you just laid out are important. They are tantamount. But in order to focus, you were going to have a distraction from that focus with this impeachment trial that is on the way over the United States Senate. The Biden administration has a lot of things that they want to do out of the gate here. And we know that the public interest in the previous impeachment was, meandering at best. Is it a good idea to push forward with an impeachment right now when you've got a brand new president and a world full of troubles that he's trying to address right out of the gate?
So very frankly, I wish this wasn't even a topic of conversation. I wish we could be moving into the Biden-Harris administration full steam, focused ahead on what we need to contend with as a nation. But the reality is that we also are a nation of laws. We are a nation of accountability. If we are to move forward, we must have accountability. And there were insurrectionists that came to the United States Capitol during a riot, incited by the president for the purpose of stopping the joint session of Congress. More and more is coming out as the investigations continue. And it is incredibly important. While I want us looking forward in a generation or two, when they look back on this time in history, we need to have been very clear about what actions are acceptable or not acceptable from our commander-in-chief.
I want to ask you about
accountability is important, and I believe that the United States Senate, I mean, we can do multiple things at once.
I want to ask you about
governing
stimulus,
while also recognizing the importance of this accountability.
I want to ask you about stimulus before we run out of time. $1,600 is what the Biden administration wants. Last month there was a $600 stimulus out there. Why does this extra money need to go into the economy this quickly? And how do you explain it to people when they heard it was going to be $2,000, that now it's going to be $1,600?
So the overall effort was, there was a discussion about what should be the stimulus amount. And I think that it's really important when we're talking about larger relief bills to look at all of the elements of it. So stimulus checks, unemployment benefits for those who are facing unemployment, support to food and nutrition programs for those who are facing hunger, and rental assistance and housing assistance for those who are facing potential eviction, right? These are all of the buckets of how we help people who are most impacted economically by this ongoing pandemic and the crisis it has caused. There's a lot of conversation about what that number should be. The bottom line is, as our economy continues to be in a tough place, as families and workers continue to be a tough place, we need to ensure that we are stimulating the economy.
Flat out of time this morning. We thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you, Fox News Sunday coming up at 9 a.m. with Chris Wallace. We thank you. We'll see you back here next week.